Hi guys, today I'm just going to be going into an issue that I've had with ace grading, and we're just going to dive straight in. I've got some points to cover. I'll try and be consistent. I'm quite busy today, so I ain't going to be like chopping this down or out. We're just going to talk about these issues, and I'll show you the report that I got back. So just for context, I picked out some cards on stream. We went through my collection, picking out some cards, put them into the top loader folder, and any which were, ones considered more valuable or ones I just wanted to keep safe. From that, I then picked out 4 cards that I wanted to grade because I'd never graded with base grading, and I thought I would just pick 4 to start with, see how it goes. And yesterday I got them cards back, and I have some issues. And I know it sounds like, ooh, you're just salty because you got bad grades. I get that, but that's the problem. It isn't just that the bad grades; it's that there doesn't seem to be a reason for them to have them grades. So we're going to address that and a few other things which I found out. I did a little bit of, I say investigating. It's just I noticed that some other users have had the same issues I have, and it's a little concerning because of the responses I've got as well. So we're going to dive in. The cards in question are these cards which I got back. So these are the 4. If you haven't been looking at my streams or reels or shorts or whatever, then to keep you up to date, I sent off these 4 cards. So I haven't got my other camera set up, so can't do like the close-ups and stuff like that like we did on stream before. But I am going to be taking pictures of the close-ups now, and I had some pictures taken before I sent them, just so that I can show people that I'm not making this up, that I did actually check the quality of these cards before. And like I said, we went through these on stream. I had a different camera set up here so I could get up close and personal. But this was the best one we got back. And again, yeah, I know the quality isn't going to be amazing. You're not going to see these in like excellent light. I will be putting up pictures later to support what I'm saying. But that was the best we got. Was an 8. The grand reveal was a disaster, as you can imagine. The best card that I was hoping to get back in terms of grade was this one, the Pikachu. They came back with such abysmal grades, a 5. But I had to do some digging because I've never graded with them before. And the Charizard. I was, in my head, these were all at least 8s. That's why I sent them. I wouldn't have bothered sending them if I thought they were going to be less than an 8. And I know I'm not a professional grader. I get that. But some of the things that I found just seemed a little dodgy. So I'm going to show you the report now. So this is the report that I got back. I had to pay for this report. Don't know why. I paid for the service. I paid for the Ultra plan as well. And you don't get the report with it, which I thought to start off was a little dodgy. Then I couldn't even get the report at first because the search bar doesn't work when you try and search in the certificate section, which is what the FAQ page tells you to do. I couldn't do it. I did find a way to get it by just going to the checkout and adding report. I only bought 1 report because I'm not paying the money for all the reports of all 4 cards. I wanted to see the evaluation like method on one of them. Personally, what you can see here is saying that there is 2 points of interest. I don't know what FP 1 and 2 well, it says here, sorry. But in terms of at first I thought the numbers were significant for like maybe the amount of damage or something. No, it's literally just point of interest, point 1, point 2, front or back. That is it. It doesn't indicate what it is. It doesn't tell it. There's no pictures as well. Now that's a big grey area for me. If there is no pictures to support something, there's no evidence, because they've just put dots on a picture that says front or back of card. So I thought I will check. I can only show you one because I've only got the report for one of them, because they don't supply it. Now, they have responded to me with some of the points I made, and they've even admitted they're going to try and improve their service with transparency in terms of reports. That doesn't help me, and it doesn't help anyone who's previously been part of their service. So this one, the Pikachu, you can see that there are 2 points of interest on the edges of the card. Okay, this is where it gets weird. The front has 2 points of interest on the edges. The back has all the corners near one of the edges. So we'll say that's surface because it's not on the edge, but the corners and the rest of it's just on the back. So I thought I will check this, and I looked at my pictures before sending. One of these points of interest is visible on a picture I took before sending. So I was like, okay, but that's a corner. Sorry, it's an edge. It was an edge. And when I looked at the card, it took me some effort to find it. And when I looked back on a picture, and again, there is a tiny mark on one of the edges. So I was like, okay, fair enough, one of the edges. Right. What grade did we get for edges? 8. We got an 8 for edges and 8 for corners, where arguably all the damage is, or at least majority of the damage is. Arguably. I say arguably, it's on their own report, okay? So the centering is gem mint, and this is the grade. So the surface is what's give it its 6, apparently, because the subsurface was so bad they couldn't give it more than a 6, is what they told me. But the surface would be these 5 points, right? Like, because I'm assuming if it's on the corner, they have to declare it that's what it classes as, and if it's on an edge, it's an edge. Going by this, again, I'm not an expert, but if you have written corners and edges, and then that's where the points of interest are, and there's no other information, that's what I'm going to take that as, right? So surface is where the issue is for this card. Okay. Again, I will be putting pictures up in better detail. I'll use a macro lens. I'll do whatever I need to do to support what I'm saying. But I tell you now, from visible to the human eye, there is one of these points that I could see. The corners I already knew had little marks on, because just from when they were cut in the factory. I knew that, and I knew the corners were going to be the downfall of the cards, because there wasn't other marks. But the corners and edges got 8s. So the surface, because to me there is no marks on the surface, is what should have been about like a 9. I still can't find these marks on the card. I've shone lights on this. I've tried getting as close as I can. There's no visible marks. Their response to this was that they use methods and equipment that can see things that we can't. So if the damage was so significant that they couldn't warrant it past the 5 for surface, as in it was so badly damaged the whole card was not allowed past the 6 according to them. But you can't see the damage unless, what, are you looking under the Hubble Space Telescope? Like, I know that's a really bad analogy, but what are you using to find these marks if they can't be seen, which warrants it past the 6, well, not past the 6? What is going on? So I thought, right, so they didn't really respond to that point when I argued it. And there was like, we're confident in the people who graded it. Right. But my point was, point number 2, I used this card as a reference, their own card. So their own grading. The corner on this, I can fully admit there is some noticeable damage, again, from the factory when it's been cut. There is a mark, and you probably won't see this, I will try my best. Um, I will try my best. But this corner here, and you're probably not going to see it at all because it's not going to just focus. But I will be honest. That corner, there is a little indent in the corner, and I know there is. But this card got given an 8. But the corners are worse. This only got given an 8. And again, there is some mark on the corner, but not as significant as this. But the other marks I cannot find. I just can't find these other marks that they're talking about. So they can't be seen. And they couldn't be seen on the pictures before I sent. So then I said, if you could you please supply me with pictures of the card when you was analysing it? So I can see these points of interest, because there's nothing. You've sent me on this report nothing. This isn't evidence. If this was a court case or whatever, like, this would be laughed out of court, because there's no actual evidence. There's nothing supporting what they've said. So I said, I, however, do have pictures before I sent it. And I can't see these marks. So did they gain these marks whilst with you, and then you've sent them back? Because you can't show me any evidence of pictures of it arriving or the process or after. Like, there's nothing. So I said, I can only go by the quality of the card now as I can see it, and before I sent it, because you've sent me nothing. I think that's fair. I don't think they have any of these pictures because they still haven't sent anything. So at this point, I'm a little I'm not confident in the process of their grading service, which I think's fair, considering this is a very valuable card. I've had it since 2016. I've looked after it since then. It's been put into a binder in covers, and I videoed me doing the process of taking it out, putting it into new ones. Like, I documented it. And there's still no marks apart from the one that I can see, which is on an edge. And the edge got given an 8. So I don't believe this. Then someone sent me a reel from Instagram of someone getting their 6 improved, its condition improved, to then regrade it. That card was abysmal, and it was a 6. And I even sent them that as a reference. So I emailed them the video and said, this is a 6, this is a PSA 6, look at its condition. Look at my card's condition. People even responded to my shorts of the reveal of the grades, and were like, this, what? Like, this doesn't make sense. You can see the cards are above 6. There's no marks. There's nothing visible. So my questions to them, and we'll go back to the report. These observations, right? So they're saying the surface is the worst thing, and that's making it so it can't go past a 6. But there's no evidence, and then when challenged, they still can't support it. And it kind of contradicts itself, because they're showing that it's on corners and edges, but then given the corners and the edges, the better grade, and the surface is low. Surface is fine. So the other cards... Sorry if this is dragging on a bit. I should really have written a script, but I can't. It's quite fresh in my head, so I can just talk about a lot of this. This got given a 5, right? So this is 5. On all the pictures I've taken and even put online and from the streams, can't see a single mark on it anywhere. There is the tiniest white mark on the corner. So it would be corners again. On the actual surface, can't see a dent, can't see a mark. Nothing. No report. A 5. So overall, I started having to ask more questions really. And I came across some videos about ace grading. And one of the videos is a guy who just basically says, I've been around collectible, like hundreds of collectibles, as his like portfolio for why he got the job. Now, I don't know if that guy even still works there. Like this video, it might be a few years old. But it does make you then question who have they hired to do the grading and why. Online, there are reports of people with the same issues I've had. There's not enough transparency. The reports don't show anything. They're incredibly stingy with grading for apparently no reason. The only service available is the Ultra, and then they was on about rushing it back to me. In their response, there was on about like to get things back quicker. I don't know if that was their reasoning for the reports or the not having pictures as evidence. You didn't rush it back to me. I paid for Ultra, which is meant to be 2 days. And 2 days, I don't even know if it specifies that's the, it arriving back to me. But they received it on a Saturday, and I didn't get it back till a Thursday. And they must have been they said business days, but they must have been working because I saw the bar of progress going up on the weekend. It's just they got to one of the processes. Assembly took like a full day. But that brings us to our next point. And again, you can't. I know it's really annoying because I don't have a camera that can zoom properly. But I will be taking pictures and putting them online. If you're interested in knowing more, I have absolutely no issue in sending pictures. Once again, like I get this macro lens and take some pictures. But there are cracks in the cases, and people might be like, oh, you're being nitpicky now. But on pretty much every single card at this point, on the bar above the card, there is cracks inside that part, and then there are like hairline cracks from these points on the side. So where the side is, right, so let's go back to. So on the side part, which rests the card, at the top, there are these little cracks going up. And again, this is just not the right camera to be doing this. But going up there are these little cracks all the way up. Now, I imagine it's not the easiest process getting these things put together without any cracks. But it is a little concerning because all of them have cracks. It's not like a one-off. They all have cracks. And these are permanent. I thought a hair had been dropped inside it. It's not a hair. It's actually cracks. So, I have permanent cracks inside the Ultra service, whatever it is, on all of them. One of them actually does look like a hair, to be fair. So again, it'll be easier for me to take pictures of it on my actual camera and send them. I did say today I would get some proper pictures for them. But overall, I'm just not satisfied. I don't believe these grades for a minute, and no one else seems to. Other people have had the same issues. This one, the only one that got an 8, is the one with visible marks. Make it make sense. I think someone was having a really bad day and just thought, F this guy, and it's 4 cards. Like, I could only send, because it's on the premium service, it's like 25 a card, and then you're paying for other stuff on top and like the labels. But a fancy label with a 6 on it is useless. So this was a really bad experience. The fact that they have admitted, well, that there's been oversight in their transparency to customers, like it's something they're working on, doesn't help me. You've acknowledged the mistake, but all you've done is basically say, yeah, we know that's bad, we know that's wrong. Sorry, but I've already paid for it. I've already been your customer, and now I know that there's mistakes in your system. They're not willing to back down with the grading process, and they stopped responding when I made valid points about, look, I said, I think, because they misunderstood one of the points when I compared it to a different card about the corners. I said, no, you graded the card which had bad corners and give it an 8. I said, but the one which is a decent card, you give like 5s and 6s. I said, so your own grading service is what I'm complaining about. Like, I'm not comparing it to someone else's. You. And they just stopped responding to it. And like, it doesn't fill me with any confidence. What happens now? I have absolutely no idea. I did respond to them before I filmed this. I thought it was easier just to get everything in one video instead of loads of little different reels, which I was doing. I was in the middle of making like different reels and stuff like that. I would, at this point, I'm questioning the quality of their service, especially after seeing now other people's videos on like the fact that I'm not going to go into the breaking that has been pulled into question on someone else's video. I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to bring up stuff like that. The video I did see though, I did have some questions about, in terms of like the fact that the cards are all just out on display. Nothing seems secured, or just on like little shelves, visible for all to see. Like, it doesn't look like a secure place. Granted, again, this video is probably from before the breaking I saw, so I'm not going to go into that. I don't know enough about it, but other people have pulled it into question, and other aspects of that, which to some people who know more about like insurance and stuff, have pulled into question. I'm like, that's not what I'm going into. It's just, when I did some digging, that's something that came up. The other aspect is people are complaining about the conditions of the cards coming back worse than when they sent them. Now, I brought this point up to them, saying, now that you're saying that you're adamant these parts of the card are damaged on the screen, the issue with that is there's no evidence, and if these are here, then they must have been gained whilst with you, because I didn't have these before I sent them. So they want pictures of the card cases, because that's a direct issue of the cases being assembled if there's cracks. So that's something they've asked for. But they don't have any pictures. So I can fully believe why people are upset. Sending in cards worth thousands and thousands of pounds, coming back in worse condition than when they sent them. I can believe it, because the condition I received these in. Now, I sent these cards fully packed, bubble wrap, you know, the little mini airbag things, everything. Like, I video all this stuff, so you can actually see this process of when I packed them, how careful I am. I use gloves, all that kind of stuff. They literally wrapped it in brown paper and put it in a box. There was no bubble wrap. And again, you can see this, you can watch the unboxing. Didn't look professional. It didn't make me feel confident that these have not been damaged. If the cases are cracked, what kind of pressure was applied to the card? Like, has the card now been damaged? I have no idea. All questions, all things I want answers to. I want them to offer a good solution to this now, ideally at this point, because there's no faith in being, like, from being a customer's point of view to them, there is no faith in them as a grading service at the moment, because they can't prove the reports. They're giving incredibly low grades for cards that are seemingly completely fine, apart from like very, very minute marks, which, you know, can't really be seen unless you're right next to them. And I know it's not the point, but I've seen cards have a 6 which are very visibly damaged. These are not. And any of them are. That's why I never said these were 10s, because I did know they had these like tiny imperfections. One of them even had a bit more than an imperfection. It was like a visible mark from where it's been cut in the factory, on the corner. So like all this kind of stuff I knew. That's why I said 8s and above for these 4 cards. But at this point, I would want a refund at this point, because I think the service is awful. I have no faith in them, and I know this does just seem like I'm upset because I've received bad grades. Like, who wouldn't be when you've looked after cards? I've been collecting since Pokemon cards came out. I always take care of them. I have my vintage cards, which again you could see on streamers going through them. I have vintage cards from when the game first came out, which I looked after. So having cards which are valuable to me come back and be given 6s, it's not just an insult. I'm actually worried that they've been degraded in condition by giving them to acegrading. I think they may have damaged the cards, or they are just being incredibly mean and giving really bad grades for no reason. Because this to me is the evidence: corners and edges, and then there's what they're saying is surface damage, but not visible. What? I'm sorry, but that email, I would have laughed if I weren't so annoyed. Basically saying, you can't see it, but we can. That means it's a 5 in surface. I'm sorry, but a 5 is visible damage. It's not even just mild scratching. A 5 for surface. Like, in my head, I'm picturing a visible dent, maybe a scratch so significant that it's removed a bit of colouring or something you can see. Damage that can't be seen surely is still a strong indicator that the card is at least an 8 or a 9 if it can't be seen. Blows my mind, does this. So yeah, I'm hoping they do respond today, because if they don't respond, or they don't give a good response and there's no solution, if they refund it, I'll go to a different grading service, and that'll be the end of it. I just won't trust acegrading again, or maybe I'll check back in a few years to see if they've changed how they do things. If they don't even offer a refund, or like admit any fault or anything like that, then I take it further. I report to UK trading standards with all my evidence and say that, like, they can't have a service that doesn't even take the pictures and claim to be a grading service, and then saying that the grades, but they're not. So yeah, like, I will take this further if not, because I think it's appalling to have a company say that they're a professional grading service, but when they show this level of contradiction and can't show any evidence. The fact that they make you pay for the report is a strong indicator that they do not want you as a customer to be able to look at their reasoning. Because why else would you do it? You're just trying to make more money from your customers who've already paid for your only service available, which is Ultra, because none of your other services are open. Again, seems a bit dodgy that you told me about getting cards back to people quick because of like how many you're taking in, but surely allowing for a backlog and saying to people, sorry, it might be 6 to 8 weeks, here's this cheaper solution, surely that would help with backlog. Like opening more channels so that you can say to some customers, sure, send them, you might be waiting 8 weeks though, instead of making everybody on this service, which says it's 2 days, and then again, I'm only going by the fact that you updated your own progress bar on the weekend, so that means you was working, which classes as a business day, because you didn't say a weekday, you said business day. Some services do work all week, so that just means holidays. So it was a bank holiday, so that's one of the days where you weren't working, I assumed, but the progress bar was going up. So Saturday all the way through to Thursday, and that's for all of them on the Ultra service. I'm not too bothered about the timescale. I just want you to be a bit more transparent about everything, and don't say you're providing this one service and then saying you need to kind of rush things back to us. I'd rather wait them 3 extra days if I'm going to get fair grades, and I'm going to get pictures in a report and an actual analysis of why it was given the grade. None of it seems to make sense. I'm going to keep digging. Anyone that's had an experience like this, sorry, I hit like every random button going. Please do get back to me. Please tell me your experience with them. Sure, I'm not alone. I've already seen some reviews that say that I'm not alone on this. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I've got to get back to work. So see you guys around, and I'll keep you updated. Bye.